Okay, let's talk about Terraform outputs. Terraform outputs are how you get information out of your Terraform configuration after it is applied. Think of them as the results or return values of your infrastructure code. They let you expose specific values like IP addresses, host names, or other critical details so you can use them elsewhere. Okay, what are the main use cases for Terraform outputs? The first use case would be accessing dynamic values, so we can get information like IPs or host names that are generated dynamically during provisioning. Other use case would be module communication to share data between different Terraform modules, external integration to feed data to other tools for automation, and human understanding to provide a summary of key infrastructure details. Okay, now let's switch over to Visual Studio Code. Okay, here is our Terraform configuration file where we define the provider to deploy our EC2 instance on AWS. We define the source or the name of the provider, the version, and we also define the version of Terraform. As part of the provider settings, we also define the region where the EC2 instance will be deployed. And finally, in this last block, we define the resource that is the actual EC2 instance with the image that we're going to use to set it up, the instance type, and the name of the instance. Okay, now let's set up the outputs. So for that, I'm going to create a new file. The name will be outputs.tf. And here we're going to specify what are the return values that we want to get from the output when we apply the changes, when we provision the infrastructure by running Terraform apply. So this is pretty similar to the variables definition with a different keyword. In this case, instead of using variables, we're going to use output. And we need to specify the name. So here we are working with an EC2 instance. So I want to get things like, okay, what is the private IP, the public IP? What is the specific availability zone where this instance is deployed? So here we define what is the region, but the actual availability zone within that region is assigned dynamically during the provisioning. So let's enter that first value. This will be website availability zone. And here we need to set three properties. The first one will be the description. This will be availability zone of the web server. Then we need to specify what is the value. And for that, we need to use the path to the resource. So this will be AWS instance.webserver, and then the property name, that in this case will be availability zone. And finally, we can specify here if this value is sensitive or not, if this is a value that we want to hide from unauthorized access. In this case, we're going to keep it as false. And here I have a couple of other outputs. I'm going to paste them here. The first one will be the website public IP. Again, with a description, public IP of the web server, the property that will be public IP, and we also set this field as non-sensitive or public, let's say. And finally, I define the output to get the private IP of the EC2 instance. So I define the description as private IP of the web server. I assign the private IP property to get it back. And I define this property as sensitive. So we're going to see the differences between setting up this value as true or false in a few seconds. Okay, now that we have our outputs defined, now let's go to the terminal and let's run Terraform apply. Okay, before applying any changes on AWS to create our EC2 instance, let's go to the AWS console. And let's check here that we don't have any instances here. Let's make sure that we are in the right region. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. Here we define that the region would be US East 2. So we need to set that region as the active one. That will be Ohio. So I'm going to switch to that one. And here we don't have any instance is running. Let's switch back to Visual Studio Code. And from here, we can run Terraform, apply. And this is basically the description of the outputs we are going to get after we confirm the execution of this command. So the website availability zone that will be known after we apply the command, or we run the command actually. The website private IP, this is a sensitive value. We're going to see how we can actually access to that value. And the website private IP that will be known after we apply the changes. So I'm going to click on yes to confirm the changes, basically to deploy these two instances on AWS. And now let's go back to the AWS console. Okay, now as you can see here, we have our instance that is being created with the pending state. Now it's running and the status check is initializing. Okay, let's switch back to Visual Studio Code. And here we can see the outputs. So we get the website availability zone that is US East 2A. We get the website private IP that is sensitive. That is how we define the output here, setting this sensitive property to true. And we get the website public IP, that is this one. That is the same that we get here in the console. That ends with 248. Okay, now how can we see this value? So the way to do that is using Terraform output, and we need to include the name of the property. So if we just run Terraform output, we're gonna see the hidden value of the property. But to force Terraform output to show it, we need to run Terraform output and the name of the property. In this case, would be website private IP. And now we can see the actual value of that hidden property. Okay, and we can also show the Terraform output with a JSON format. So we can do that by running Terraform output, passing minus JSON here. And as we can see here, we get the output or the different properties that are part of the outputs definition in JSON format. Okay, and finally, to finish our work here, we need to run Terraform destroy. So we remove the EC2 instance. Let's run it. And now we're going to need to confirm the execution of the destroy command. And now we should see the change of the state of the EC2 instance. As we can see here, is shutting down until it is terminated. Okay, now the status is terminated. So that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel. And I see you guys in the next one.